No, I won't repeat all that. Don't worry. I'm just going to talk about her bio. Okay. Shawn Teasley is a marketing and social media strategist who is passionate about digital marketing, storytelling, and social media. As the owner of Social Tonic, she consults, trains, and mentors teams, helping businesses streamline their marketing through done-for-you services or in-house training. Dedicated to supporting startups and entrepreneurs, Shawn offers strategic guidance and creative solutions. Inspired by her father's entrepreneurial spirit, she loves helping brands establish their presence and grow with confidence. Her approach makes marketing strategic, sustainable, and stress-free, believe it or not, allowing business owners to focus on what they do best. And just a little bit more about her business, Social Tonic. It provides a refreshing elixir. Oh, Angela, were you like sisters with her or something? A refreshing elixir of ideas and strategies to invigorate your brand and spark genuine connection. Their marketing support reinforces your message, highlights your team's values and market position, and showcases the trust your customers have in you. When it comes to social media, they don't just post content, they curate an experience. Ooh, ah. Okay, the stage is yours, my friend, Shawn.
Thanks, Joyce. Yes, Angela and I know each other, and we talk tonics all the time. Let me share my screen really quick so that we are looking at my presentation that we can walk through. Okay, everybody, Joyce, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So yes, we're talking about DIY or delegate. And so we're going to go through a couple of different stages here. Why is this question important? The pros and cons of both. How do you evaluate it, and tips for either of these areas, and then some time for Q&A. So the decision, because social media can be one of your first impressions in front of people, and also it's more than just posting. You're building trust and your credibility. You're taking them along on a story. You're building anticipation with what's happening with your business or some launches and things like that. And so it's also really important that you're matched up with strategy so that you're not wasting time and money, and having the right fit is actually going to offer a lot more clarity, consistency, and growth. So we're going to go into these different areas. So let's say that you're taking the path of DIY. There are benefits and challenges to both of these, or to this in general. So you can have complete control, and especially for some of us that are, solopreneurs or consultants and things, like having this control is an important piece. So you get to have that. It can be lower cost depending on how much time you're spending on it and your ratio of the cost there. It keeps your authentic voice for yourself. And then some of the challenges, it can be time consuming to create the post. And when we think about social media, there's like a couple of different aspects to it. If you're going to post video, if you're going to do editing, you're going to do the social messaging and things like that, and then putting it into a scheduling software. So just like really being considerate of your time, and then knowing the different design softwares and strategies and things like that. And then also making sure that you're sticking to the plan that you came up with originally, especially if it's one based on strategy, that can be a challenge. So some tools, if you're going to take the DIY route, is having a scheduling software. So this is a scheduling tool, a few different lower cost options for smaller businesses. Could be Buffer, Later, Planoly, using some different design tools for graphics and things. We got the standard Adobe, lots of people use Canva, Opus for video as well. And then obviously, like everybody's using ChatGPT and some of the AI tools too. That makes it a lot easier and faster. And then making sure that you're using a calendar and planning it out. Because if you start with strategy first, your DIY can be very successful if you're methodical and you're consistent. Okay. So using some type of calendar is an important piece to that. All right. But then knowing if it's time to outsource, these could be some of the signs that would be popping up for you. Is your team being stretched too thin? Are people wearing too many hats? Is social media the last thing that everybody does? And they feel in a panic right before the post needs to go for the day, and they're not being thorough and, planning ahead. Are you consistent, being rushed? Are you not sure what's working? sometimes you just like don't know. You're posting and you wonder like, oh, I hope that's like resonating. I hope that that's driving clients and things like that. And sometimes you just like don't know what you should be focused on, or you should be focused on what you do best and not social media. So that could be a reason to be moving along, or you just might be overwhelmed with all of the tools that are out there, which is a fair thing right now. We also want to really look at your strategy versus like making strategic decisions versus chasing trends. So in this sense, when you are partnered up with somebody that you're outsourcing to, they will keep you on task in that way. If you have a really good partner, you can avoid like too much time and budget and things like that, chasing all of these different trends. So you could be seeing something that you're looking at TikTok and think, oh, I'm going to apply that over LinkedIn. Maybe not such a great idea. But if you have somebody that is your outsourced marketer, you can run those ideas by them and make sure that it's appropriate for that different channel. And they just help you navigate the changes with algorithms and what's changing inside with regards to the types of content that work really well per platform too. All right, then what to look for in a social media partner. So if you are thinking, okay, I'm going to outsource, these are some of the things to be considering. Does the person get your brand and your audience? Not just you, but the people who you're selling to. Are they good communicators? What's that communication stream been like between the two of you in this initial piece? Because if they don't have the follow through, the likelihood that's going to reflect in what they're producing as well. Do they offer a clear strategy? This is really important to me when I'm talking to people in businesses that are like, yeah, I'm going to outsource this. Having that clear strategy up front that the person you're outsourcing to, they're looking at all of your competition, they're seeing what everything else is in your industry to make a strategy for moving forward. Can you get testimonials? Can you get a reference from one of their past clients? Do you get, if you were to ask them, would they send over a few links to social media that they're doing currently so you can scroll through what they offer? Is it customizable? And then do you trust them? Like, what is your gut reaction when you're with them? And then lastly, are they looking at analytics? So if we look at this list, I would say the top two things for me is making sure that there is a company that you're considering has a clear strategy in the beginning and they're offering you these monthly analytics. Because if they're not, they're kind of just throwing things up on the wall, and then that's not going to feel good and really good results. So let me give you an example of that. So I have a client that I've been working with for, I think it's about 9 months now. And she is in Antigua, Guatemala. Reached out to me through a referral. She is she owns a sober retreat center. So she was looking for somebody to do her marketing that understands sobriety, understands like some of the principles of the AA program, travel, especially travel to Guatemala, and just like somebody that gets events. So she came to me and I was like, wow, I can't believe that myself and then one of the other gals on my team, we've both been to Antigua, Guatemala. I haven't drank in nearly 7 years. So I get that. I had some experience with like some of the components of the AA program. And one of my major industries for our social media agency is travel. And so I give you that example because there were so many components that make sense. And I want you to have that faith and hope that when you're looking for a partner, you can find someone. And that could be looking for referrals through other business partner or like other business owners that you know and asking around. But I just really don't think like you have to go with the first social media partner that you find. Look for somebody that gets you. And that's what I want to really say about that. Okay, then when you're price shopping, if you're going to outsource, there's the difference that it's pretty distinctive between the lower cost option, which I would say could run somewhere between like $400 and $500 a month versus a higher value partnership. And I want you to think about this as like fast food versus farm to table. And if we take that idea of the farm to table, whatever you're growing in your garden, that is what you're feeding your social media partner. And so that could be like just some images if you're especially at a convention and you have all this these photos from the booth or on stage because one of your colleagues is speaking and things like that. That's all cultivating some really great content, and you're then feeding that to your social media partner. So in the like scenario of creating a folder that you can be sharing videos, 2 to 3 minute or 2 to 3 second clips so that they can combine some things together and make video for you and things. But this is really the difference between the lower and then the higher value when you're looking at, if you're comparing outsourcing. And then let's go back to the DIY side of things. Like if you're going to go this path, which is completely feasible and something that all businesses go through this piece where it is a part of what they're going to be doing. It's going to be doing it themselves. Don't do it alone. Okay. So the lots of areas where you lose momentum is that you don't start small because you think, oh, I want to be on the 3 or 4. I also want to be on YouTube. My suggestion always is to start with 1 or 2 channels, 1 or 2 platforms, because if you think you're going to all of a sudden be posting across 4, you're going to feel overwhelmed very quickly. And then that's going to be a procrastination piece. Start using the right tools like for scheduling and planning. And then also just do a huge piece where you're planning ahead with your content calendar. If you need to use someone as your VA or something like that, train somebody on your team so that they can understand and help support you in it, but also get an accountability partner. I have found, so I've done some consulting where we actually don't do their social media, but we come in once a month and they use us as like an accountability partner. But it's always if they say, hey, we're gonna do 8 posts this month. And then I come back and say, like, how'd the 8 posts go? Or I'll say, I saw 2 of your posts already this month. So somebody else, like a friend that's also running their business that maybe needs some accountability. This kind of back and forth accountability is a really great way to enable you to be moving forward. Okay, and then making outsourcing work for you. So if you're thinking about what it's going to look like to team up with someone, it's building the trust right away in that onboarding section. And here I put down, the more you share, the better they partner. So really make sure that you're sharing as much as possible so that they really get you. And that can be in your brand guidelines, your goals, setting clear expectations of what you want to be doing, and then just this regular check-ins, which does happen with your monthly reports and analytics as well. Okay, that kind of breezed through things pretty quickly. And I would love to take questions about if you're trying to consider between the two. This was a really great slide here to think, do you have the time for these things? Do you like learning AI tools? This will help you understand, is it time, or are you going to keep it under your umbrella and your capacity?
Shawn, well, I don't know if I have to raise my hand. I don't know what Delegate is, but I'll just jump in. It was quiet, so I seized the moment. Yeah, it's really helpful, Shawn. And I think, as business owners, it's always that rub, right? Of I'm doing all the things, and but if I hire someone, it costs money. But I think it's a great way to kind of ask the right questions, and I think those are really helpful for each of us to think about. Is where is our time best served? Because social media, it takes that consistency, it takes that planning, it takes that organization, and it's really easy to get caught up in the oh crap, I need to post today. And that's when it can be such a rub, and then you start to lose that momentum. So yeah, I just wanted to call out. I thought those questions were quite helpful, and just sometimes it's that like spend money to make money type thing, and just getting that additional support so that you can show up consistently and create those relationships can be so important. And really stepping into, is this, I know that's important, so is that the best use of my time? So I mean, I'm sure you have those conversations all the time. So it's great,
Yeah.
great
And for
perspective to
me,
consider.
yeah, for me, what was the first thing I needed to outsource was the accounting piece, right? And
Mhm.
so for other people who that is like a part of their nature and that's how they think, they wouldn't be outsourcing accounting first. But it's really the thing that you get stuck on, that you procrastinate on, that tells you where you need to delegate first. So if you're
Yes.
procrastinating on the social media and you're like, oh my gosh, it's 9 a.m. and I'm supposed to have a social media post out there,
Why?
it's probably not working so great.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
you can spend more time in your planning and your scheduling, or maybe bring out some new resources. And I think a great piece to understand is that DIY doesn't have to be you doing everything. You could have a video editor, and you could have your VA also like shaping up some captions for you. And I think a really important aspect to this is, well, and I'm going to take Neely for example here because I follow her on social media. She has such an authentic voice and some very, well, she's an expert in her field. And so for somebody else to come in and take over her voice is going to be difficult. I'm not going to lie. However, there's a strategy where if she came up with a few different ideas, and so that those very concentrated things could be placed once a week. And then
Mhm.
there's a compilation of other social media posts that don't necessarily have to be as nerdy. Okay, like we're gonna use that term, that are just a little bit lighter, but you can use this as a mix into your planning because not everything has to be so deep. And when you start having content, like let's say you're doing podcasts, like Angela, I know you're doing podcasts, you can take these small bite-sized pieces from your podcast. And then, so if you, let's give that as an example. Angela wants to DIY her social media, and she's only going to use a video editor. And between the two, because she's got her message very well dialed in, but she's going to take this video editing resource. And then between the two, she's going to feel really well supported in that because she's not doing all of the lift. But these bite-sized pieces are going to come out. You can use some other AI tools to help with the caption because you can pull the transcript from that exact like 2-minute clip that she's doing to then help with the caption. So there are ways that like it'll work even with just a little bit of some outsourcing in one or two areas, a graphic designer, a videographer, or a video editor in that space.
I have a question, and then we'll go back to Neely. You mentioned that you do training, say, for a team. That could be perhaps like, say, it was me. I don't have a VA, but let's say I did. So maybe it was us too. So if you do a
Yeah.
training, and so it's a collaboration between me and the virtual assistant. So are those done like a one-off, or do you, like you said, you do consult with one company once a month? Can you paint a little bit of
Mhm.
the picture? Because when the people, the virtual assistants of the world, that is a very wide cross section of
Yeah.
America and
Yeah.
other
Very
countries
true.
for that matter. So I
Hmm.
was wondering, how do you help them really learn about sort of the concepts or design principles like Mindy Webb talks about, of social
Yeah.
media? How do those trainings kind of look?
Absolutely. Okay. So we work with clients in two ways. Either we do your social media for you or we train over 4-month time period.
Okay.
No matter what we do, we start with a strategy. So however you start to work with us, this is why I like harp so much on making sure that if you're going to outsource, they start with a strategy. So no matter in what areas, we start with a strategy, we present it back to you, make sure everything's dialed in. We create a list of call to actions that like just make sense. We dive deep into hashtags. We look at your competitor. So whatever it is, we're for whatever style that we're helping. Now in the training, we do month 1 where we prove the concept and then we do we train exactly what we did in month 1. So that person that's going to take on, if it's the VA, if it's you together, Then we train you and we take it step by step in the graphic design space. Like for instance, we design in Adobe, but that's not as friendly for regular people. And so then we carry it over into Canva and we make it them editable templates. So we make it high class, bring it over to Canva where it's editable, and then you can continue to use it as templates. We also do that with video as well. So we train you on how to do that, but it's all recorded. So let's say you had a transition between your VA, because in your training, it's all going to be recorded. If you had a new VA, you have them watch that 4-month training and start to pick up exactly what was already implemented and put into place.
That helps a
So
lot.
it's
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That really answered my question. Jonathan's got his hand up. Would you like to ask a question or make a comment, Jonathan?
Absolutely. Thank you for the info. As always, great stuff. Was actually talking about you just the other day with a new client of mine. We're building up content for his new social media campaign, videos to be posted twice a week on 2 different platforms. The question becomes, yes, it's
We're losing you.
sling
Jonathan,
and the fiddle battle, so he can keep his head.
Can you start? We missed like about a half a minute or something. Can you ask that? Can you frame that again?
Absolutely. So I'm working with a new client, building up the assets for his new social media push to be video-based twice a week on 2 different platforms. And your name actually came up in my reference of, well, I don't know if we're ready for her yet, but at what point does it really make sense to simply have you do all of the posting and the fiddle faddle so that he can keep his head down and growing his business?
Yeah. Well, if you're already producing 2 videos, and because pretty much on any software, I can say this across on any platform, social media platform, they all want diversity in content between carousels, video, single images, and so all of these different things. So you're already taking the huge lift of creating these videos. So then we need to just come in and put the other content types into the mix, because you've already got that piece to it. So then adding, 2 photos, carousels, and things like that would be just a really easy way to do it. But I guess it's kind of going back to asking him, like, 1, does he like it? 2, does he procrastinate on it? And 3, does he feel like he has to have control? Because, for instance, like how with our agency, what we do is we put you into our scheduling software, and then on the 25th of the month, we send out an email and say, okay, all your social posts for the next month are ready for you. And I say that lightly, 80% of what can be done on social media can be done ahead of time, but then we schedule some other posts that are like more in real time. So 80% is in the scheduling software. It takes you, or Jonathan, your client, about 45 to 60 minutes to look through those social media posts that are all queued up for the month, and then they're ready. So does he want to go from like spending hours on doing it and having control, or like 45 to 60 minutes a month reviewing everything to make sure that it looks good and it's on brand and it's in the right tone, which happens, usually by at least month 2, we're like cruising along and we don't really get a lot of rejections on our posts and things. Or, does he want to keep it to himself?
Okay, thanks.
Other questions, comments for Shawn? Go ahead, Neely. You had your hand up earlier, right? Sorry.
Okay. I guess what I really struggle with, and then maybe you can address, is that sweet spot between personal and professional. Like I have 36,000 photos and 3,000 videos, which I've probably posted 10 of. That it's very much a lifestyle about what I do. I live what I preach. And so I'm sure a lot of those 36,000 photos would be something that I should be posting. But honestly, it's overwhelming. And I'm not sure exactly how personal to get. And I assume you go into strategy about those kinds of things. And I haven't really had the need necessarily before now, because I'm developing a program that the public can actually take advantage of now that's going to be launching sometime in 2025. That's where I need to have my focus. But I also want to build my audience outside of my corporate clients. So
Yeah.
how do you find, is it a meeting with you in which you just discuss strategy? Can I just give you my 36,000 followers as I go down the road to Alaska?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah. It does. Well,
Okay.
there's a couple of different things because, for instance, if we were to do a strategy for you, then we would create these different content buckets because we would know about you. We know about the authors that make sense to, like, you know, that you read. And for instance, for me, like, I adore Brene Brown. So I'm going to be talking about her in my social posts, right? And so by having this like strategy and different content buckets and looking at different things, we could be like, okay, we're going to take some inspiration from some authors. And then how do we connect that to some of her travel? There's always a bridge there. I mean, you saw my post this morning about going to Morocco in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
Okay, if we timestamp that, that was a year and a half ago. So I'm taking something that was from a while ago, but it was a conversation that I had last week about light pollution and how there's all this noise in the world. And then I tie it to how I'm thinking about business and this conversation. So even though things, you know, may have been a past trip, you could bring it to the present. And we talk about this all the time in the sense of like, influencers, like if you're following a travel influencer, they're never posting in real time because it takes so long to produce the item. So it's okay to post later. I'm giving you all permission to post later, you know, in that sense too. But I think it's probably sitting down and like discovering, okay, so here are these core buckets and themes. And then with that, it gives you ideas to then go back into some of your images. And maybe for you, like a core piece is something about water and the connection and the flow and that, then you can go with that. But like identifying what some of those core themes are, then also as you start to continue to take new photos, you're going to take photos that like go along with that theme too while you're traveling.
Well, my framework are my themes. So I can always find, I have too many ideas
Okay.
that I can post. It's never a lack
Yes.
of idea or creativity generation. It's
Yeah.
organizing which one do I
Yes,
want
yes. Okay, this is the perfect example then. 3 weeks ago, I met with somebody that is a 3-time business owner, and she has 3 different kinds of businesses, okay? And she said, I need to dial it in so that when I'm speaking on LinkedIn, which is her like most general platform where she connects with consulting and getting a lot of new clients, but she also does this travel thing on the side too that she also posts on Instagram. But we needed to figure out like we came with the term that she's multi-passionate, and that's okay, right? She's got 3 businesses, she's thriving, she's got all these things. And what is the common thread that then you can be talking about? And sometimes you just have to like have somebody outside of yourself help you know what that is. Because you're just many times too close, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that idea of that accountability partner, that's one of the notes I mean, I really leaned into. I mean, I already have an accountability partner. We don't often talk about this topic, but we certainly could, or it could be just for your social media accountability partner, which would make sense. And on the personal, I will say that my 2 highest performing posts of all time on LinkedIn, one was a picture of me standing in front of Lake Louise in Banff National Park in Canada. And I had a little kind of a reason for posting it. I can't remember, but it was super popular. And the most one, though, was a few years ago when I turned 73. So it was three years ago. And my birthday is right at Christmas, just a few days before. So I don't usually make a deal. When you're born in that around Christmas time, you know, people don't give a rip when your birthday is. You know, you don't celebrate it for a week or a month or anything. But I thought, you know, I'm going to have a picture. So I had this cake that had 73 on it. And I was wearing my Mrs. Santa dress, which some of you have seen in person. And it was such an anachronism. You do not see pictures like that. First, the Mrs. Santa dress and this lady publicizing her age, who's got white hair and is over 70. So it was, I don't know, 25,000 views or something crazy, not like super, virtual, viral, but and I just did it
That's
with the
great.
context for it. So I say,
Yeah.
maybe not every week, even, but now and again, when there's something really distinctive, like, trust me, I've spent 6 weeks in Alaska, you're going to have a lot of material just from that trip.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just spacing that out. I love to look at and make a 12 grid because I think it's really the best cadence is posting 3 times a week. It feeds the algorithms enough content that they know you're serious about your business. So if you made a piece of paper and you did 3 across and 4 down, that's your 4 weeks and 3 posts. And then spread it out and say like, okay, so like with Neely, 2 of the 12 should be something about this like travel passion that she can connect to her expertise as well. And then 1 to 2 of the posts can be really about, so I always say you shouldn't be posting more than 20% in this like sales realm, so that people follow you because they want to know your authority, your voice and expertise. But so then if we have 2 posts that are travel, and those are going to be like fun loving analogies and things, and we have 2 posts that are for your kind of like sales things that you're doing for the month, then you have a lot of other areas to play with still for specking out these different themes and things that you can follow then just reoccurring every month. To say like, oh, there's my 12 grid. What am I going to do for August?
We have time for like 1 or 2 more questions, comments. Feel free.
I do. I'm going to pop up this slide
wait,
one more
Cheryl,
time because
yeah. Oh yeah, go right ahead.
No, I have one thing here that I wanted to do at the very end of my slides here. So 1 more slide. So, and please bring on the question. But if you're thinking of outsourcing and you want me to take a quick, like 15-minute audit through what you're already posting, email me and we'll open up whatever platform it is and we'll scroll through it and I'll say, oh, you're using hashtags as words on LinkedIn. That's not a best practice. I think you should discontinue that. Or like I'll make suggestions as we scroll through and then I can give you some pointers. And if you're interested in outsourcing, then we can talk about it then. But okay, Cheryl, were you going to ask something?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for presenting this. I am in that dilemma of, do I do it myself or do I outsource it? And I think you've just put it over the edge. I need to figure this out a little better, but I really appreciate your little tricks and tips for this. It gives me something to work with, and now I have a better plan on how to move forward. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I mean, I hope that example of the sober travel retreat center in Guatemala, I mean, come on, that is a very specific need and look. And so your business can find somebody like that too.
It's okay if I stop the sharing on the slide?
Yes.
I was going to ask if it's okay if I could take a screenshot of people, because so far I post, it seems like this has been one of my most favorite times. So if we all get our smile on and see if I can pull this off, okay? We'll try it. Okay, I think I got it. I'll find out. I'll save it over here.
Well, I will give a promotion for Angela for next month because 1, she's a dear friend, and 2, she knows her stuff. So come back.
So Shawn, I have to tell you, you inspired me during this call to reactivate my X account, which lucky for me, tomorrow it would have been deleted forever. And I'm going to go try and see if I can get it back. I deleted it because it was too tempting to be political and snarky. But I've got like 54,000 followers because I've been on X since 2008.
Wow.
So I need to cultivate that audience with what I actually do and try to avoid what I think about the world.
Yes, do that. And just, I mean, use it, put a goal for yourself of sampling it for 6 weeks. See what happens, you know, and then go back and look at the statistics. Was it worth your time for 6 weeks? Then you can make a decision. It's going to take you a little time, though, to get the algorithm warmed up because you haven't been posting over there. So,
Right.
you know, maybe the first 2 weeks, don't get down.
No,
Or they might be so excited that you're back that they're going to like make your posts be shown or your tweets in front of all kinds of people. So it could go either way.
That is so exciting. That is really neat. I'm glad you got inspired. I think it's a matter of filtering when you think about it, Rich, you know, in terms of, is this appropriate or not? And you're good at that most of the time.
most of the time.
So I just want to say that, yeah, I think that's important to think it through. And I'm so excited about Angela and Minuet coming up. I rarely have I have a speaker already for October on YouTube Shorts, which I have dabbled in once, but I hope to do more dabbling. And it's a hoot. I got like 2,000 views on my YouTube short on a LinkedIn profile headline or something. It was a blast. So I've just got to remind myself how to make them. So yeah, we got a couple more minutes. I have my Enhance Your LinkedIn Profile workshop coming up on Friday. I put that in the chat. Again, I'll send the chat to everybody. So that's a lot of fun if you like to learn together. And Sherilyn's been in one of those. She was fun. Yeah, I think that's the main person I see on the screen that's been through them. So yeah, this has been great. I'm glad almost everybody, or at least 2/3, we got a pretty high ratio today, Shawn, of show-ups versus the total people who signed up. And it says a lot about you and about this topic. So such a cool, neat variety of people we have today. Yeah, such a great meeting.
Well, and I want to say that it sounded like there were a couple of newish people to the social media industry. Like, go get it. This is a fun space. And okay, for you, my biggest tip is that actually it's for everybody is when you are making your toolbar, your what is it called? The bookmarks up above. Bookmark the back end of whatever social media platform so that you don't see the feed. So like, let's say you're looking at Facebook, bookmark your personal page or your personal profile or your company profile so that when you click on it, the feed doesn't show up and then you get distracted because that's how we get sucked into time. But like with all my clients, I have them in the toolbar up above. I just go to the back end. No temptations to see what else is happening on Instagram. So, hot tip there.
All right. Okay. And if anybody knows a good Instagram speaker, maybe we'll have you back for that, Shawn. I'm looking for that in November or December. That would be something we haven't covered in a while. I've had a lot of people asking for it. So we'll come up with something.
Sounds good.
Okay. I think we're good. Class dismissed early. Stick around if you want to chat. Everybody have a good rest of your day. And if you're in the Denver area, do the best you can to stay cool. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Shawn. That was great.
Oh, this is sweet. Shawn, this is amazing. Thank you again.
Oh, good. It
job.
Really hit.
It hit a lot of points, and I love that you saved so much time for question and answer. I didn't turn off the.
Oh, there's so many questions.